Hello once again, witchy people. If you hear some weird sounds, it's the dogs walking on the floor and the neighbours having a huge party. But they've got a huge garden, so hopefully it won't interfere too much. I've had to close the windows and it's hellishly hot. So, have you ever felt like your witchcraft is discombobulated? It's apart from you. It's like you're losing your witchiness, because this is what I've been through and I wanted to talk about it. So it's kind of an update and kind of about how to reconnect with your own witchy soul, which I've been trying to do for a while now, and I have had some help, though she doesn't know it. I am talking, of course, about Wendy Plested, who lives, I think, near London. And her connection with her craft is amazing. And her connection has helped me feel like I can reconnect with my craft and who I really am, because I've lost a lot of that. And it's really hard to reconnect when you've become so removed from everything. So let me explain a bit. So when I last made an update sort of video, it was in September last year. I think it was my mother-in-law's birthday, so that would have been September the 17th last year, and I had a huge bruise on this arm, I think, and I said that I'd been clumsy, and I think that's part of it. I was clumsy. I've been getting, sorry, this chair is so uncomfortable. I was getting very clumsy and I just wasn't happy. Now, I'm not a great person. Unlike Patricia Panner, she's wonderful. She always says, strive to be happy. And her mantra is all about finding your inner happiness, and that way you get outer happiness. And I love that. But I need to be content. I can do without being happy. Happiness isn't my jam, if you like. Everyone likes to be happy. But the important bit to me is to be content, and I have not been content for a long, long time. I thought it was my duty in life to look after my mother-in-law, keep her home where she felt safe and comfortable, and because she'd given up so much, I wanted to do the same for her. And for a while that worked. I had been having a bit of help with people coming in and helping me, like my son and my mum. But just after that video that I last made in September, I decided that I'd had enough and I wanted to move. I couldn't stand living in Hythe in Southampton any longer. I was so removed from everything, and in being removed and being so discontented, and I was lying to myself. I think we all do. We lie and we try to cover up and put a face on it, and sometimes that just does not work. No matter what, it won't work, because you can only cover up for so long. You know, I mean, I used to be a huge proponent of, you know, stick a smile on your face and pretend to be happy, and eventually you will be happy. You know, fake it till you make it sort of thing. And that led me down a very dark path. So we decided that we wanted to move. And so when I was very, very young, younger than 10, I used to walk past this little, it was a private road, and what they call in England an unadopted road, which means the council don't do any stuff to it. You know, they don't look after the road or anything. Houses are built there, but it's like a dirt road. And we used to go past this little dirt road when I was going down to a local club when I was younger. And I used to look up at these houses and think that the secret people lived there. And by secret people, in my young mind, it was people like witches and elves and fairies and fairy tale princesses. It was the secret people, you know, in this unadopted road, in this little dirt road up on a little hill, is where all these amazing magical people lived. And I loved it. That was my thing. And when we decided to move, a house on that little hill was up for sale. And I now live here. It has taken almost a year from first putting in my bid to say, I will buy this house, but not for what you want to sell it for. So when I first put in my bid to buy this house until the day I actually moved in was almost a year. And within that year, the people who had lived here, they were going through an awful breakup. So they just didn't care about the house anymore, and they wrecked it. Carpets or broken windows, dirty carpets, cat feces, all sorts, everything, the walls, the floors, the windows, the light fittings hanging out from the ceilings. Everything had gone wrong with this house, but I still love it. The second I walked into this house, it was home. Now, I haven't been here long, hence there is no decoration. And I'm hoping that feeling of being home will stay in my heart, because then I think once you're comfortable and settled, you can then start, if you feel this disconnection with your craft, you can then start to build your craft again. You use that confidence and that happiness as a base to build up your life. And my life is mostly being a witch, or at least it was until I moved to Hythe. So shortly after putting in a bid for this house, it was almost like the bungalow where we used to live realised that I didn't like it anymore, and it wasn't going to like me either. And terrible things happened. So I was having a hard time, but I was coping, and then I broke my foot and my ankle. I was out of commission. Who was going to look after my mother-in-law? So I had my mum come and help me, and but that was the first. I broke my ankle and broke my foot. Then I had COVID. So I had COVID twice. Didn't last very long, but that was okay. And then to top it all off, I had a breakdown. I had a total and utter emotional and mental breakdown. It was all too much. Now, the idea of us living in this house is that, and we're going to call this house Little Hill House, because it's on a little hill, and I love that. The idea of living here was that we had a downstairs toilet, we had enough room so that Mary could come live with us. She was supposed to be living here, and because of my breakdown, I made the decision, with my husband of course and the rest of the family, to put Mary back into the old nursing home that she was in. It's called Rosewood. It's beautiful. So Mary is back at Rosewood, and like I said, I haven't been here very long. And we are, I think the word that, I don't know if Americans will understand it, we're brassic. Basically, we sunk every penny we had into buying this house because I loved this house so much, and now there's all this work to be done, and it's going to be we've got no money left to do it. But never mind, because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I mean, there are a lot of things. My old house, so I'm back in Sholing, so my old house in Sholing, before I moved into the bungalow, was decorated exactly how I wanted it to be. This is not. It's got a very modern kitchen. I don't like that. But I can live with it because I love this house. The bones of this house are wonderful, and it's my home. And I think you need to feel settled and home. You can be a wandering nomad out in the country, but if that's your home, being able to wander, then you've got something to build on. That's your base to build on. I had no base to build on. And I think that's why everyone needs this. Just they need this foundation to be able to base the rest of their life on, no matter what your life is, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whether it's your faith or your culture or anything. You need a base to build your personality and your character and your life on, and that's what I'm trying to do. I have lost touch completely with my spirituality. So coming back here, what's been really nice is I have so many crows in the garden, and I love crows. There's an owl. We have a fox. So we live possibly next to the busiest road in the area that I live. But across from that busy road is a very small nature reserve. And they have foxes there, and the foxes yip and yap and howl and all sorts at 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. And Barkley thinks that they're calling to him. So he barks back at them and goes a bit mad, and that sets Cinnamon off. But, it is what it is. When the windows are closed, you don't notice anything. So I have a main road one side of me, and I have a train track on the other side of my very weird pointy garden. But it's okay. The cats love it. They're very settled. In fact, to the point where now they are getting out and interacting with the dogs. And they never have really interacted with Cinnamon. But it's this whole, what do you do to reconnect? And I think part of it is you have to find a place that you need to call home, that feels like home. Whether that's a house, a bungalow, a flat, the middle of a town, the middle of a forest, whatever. You need to find your home. And I think in finding your physical home, you then can start building your spiritual home. That's the way I feel. So it hasn't been a lot at the moment. There's been, like the crows. I've noticed the crows. There's an owl. There's the foxes. Family is close by. So I get to see my family a lot more. And it's just, so I can look out usually I have an unfettered view all across the top of people's gardens. At the moment, there's a huge multicoloured bouncy castle. That's how long my neighbour's garden is. It actually cuts off the back of my garden. It's huge. And there's trees everywhere. When I lay in my bed at night, I see a tree, and from about 5:30 to about 7 o'clock in the morning, there are 2 squirrels that go mad in this tree, and it brings me joy. It really does bring me joy. But now I have that feeling of maybe I feel settled here, and maybe this is my home. Not maybe, this is my home. Apart from the fact that I'm not planning on moving, we could never afford to move again. It's just not happening. I have a spare room when people can come and stay. And my granddaughter has stayed quite a bit. It's been settling. I think I've been unsettled for so long, and I tried to make it work in Hythe. I really did. And I'm not saying it's Hythe or the bungalow. If I'm being honest with myself, it was looking after Mary, my mother-in-law, that curbed me so much I stopped being me. I just became Mary's carer and companion. And I think it's great for people who can dedicate their lives like this, and that's what they want to do. But in my heart, obviously, I didn't want to do it. And I don't feel guilt for Mary being back in a home now. And I think that's part of it. I can't feel guilt because I did my best for her. And it got to the point where Mary is so ill now that before we moved her back to the home, she thought she was back in Rosewood, and she kept on opening cupboard doors looking for the toilet. And it did get very, 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 very difficult. But I feel like I've achieved something in that I managed to look after this lady and make what she could remember back then, make it comfortable for her and happy for her. And, you know, it built up a bond. I mean, we already had a very strong bond, but it built up a different kind of bond. But now I'm not her daughter. I am her daughter-in-law now, rather than a carer. But she doesn't remember me. She has no idea who I am anymore. She barely remembers her son, but you know, I did my best for her. But I think the amount of energy that I put in to Mary, I was taking away from myself, and my balance in life was wrong. And I think people who work, because obviously I don't work, I'm a stay-at-home person. I don't work. I have no job that I go out to that I get paid for or anything. So people who go out to work understand a work-life balance. And if you don't have a work-life balance, what was it my dad used to say? Work to live, not live to work. You need that balance. Or your work persona, if you like, takes over and there's little of you left. So there's a piece of hair there that's really bugging me, and okay. So I now have to, it's almost like I'm starting again. I am starting right back from basics almost. I have to now learn all over again. And bear in mind that I am probably, as the crow flies, quarter of a mile, just over quarter of a mile from where I used to live, when I lived in Sholing. I'm that close. I'm back home. Sorry, I have to get used to what's around me, and my garden is bare. I mean, I say that, I have 2 apple trees in my garden that bear no fruit. Well, no. One apple tree had 1 apple on it, and it was too much for Cinnamon to resist. She jumped up and pulled it off. She waited a while, but she did it. And there are raspberries growing at the bottom end of the garden. It was quite funny. I said that when I moved, I wanted to have alpine strawberries growing in my garden because I love alpine strawberries. The taste of them is sweet and beautiful. They're tiny, weeny little strawberries. And when we came here, they were growing wild up the side of the garden. So I didn't even have to buy any of those. It's just been, the neighbours are lovely, entertaining in some cases. As in the people that are having the party, but that's fine. It's taken me probably 3 or 4 weeks to try and get my craft room sorted, maybe more than that. I will be reopening my shop soon, and it's all these little steps that I'm trying to make to get back to who I was, but a new version. I don't want to be who I was before I moved. I mean, it would be nice, but it's not going to happen. But a new version of that person. And I think that's what people need to do to reconnect. They have to remember there's no point wishing to be the person you were, because that's not going to happen. But you can base the new version of you on the person that you were and liked. And I think you have to like yourself. I'm really rambling on, I know. And this was supposed to be about reconnecting to your witchcraft. And I think it's going to take a while. So I might slowly start making more videos about witchcrafting rather than talking about it and actually doing witchcraft, because this way I need to reconnect and get things, and that's it, it's reconnecting. I need to reconnect and restart, get started again. And I am going to be here at Little Hill House and know that I am home. And that is my first step, finding my home. And I have found my home. I hope inside my heart that this is true, because I was full of I was enthusiastic and hopeful and optimistic when I moved into the bungalow in Hythe, and it didn't work out quite as I planned. So we shall see. I'm not making any huge plans in my head what I think it's going to be like. I'm going to take each day as it comes. Me and the dogs and the cats. Well, the cats are settled, they're fine. The dogs, Barkley's getting old. He's 11 now. He lost a tooth. He lost a tooth on his bottom jaw, and this is not good for small dogs like Yorkies. So I've got to take extra care of Barkley, who is an annoying little doggy at the moment, and Cinnamon, who encourages him and then just makes matters worse. Yes, I'm talking about you, Cinnamon. Hello. He's my Cinnamon. Stinky girl. She's trouble. So there it is. Reconnecting, finding your home, and then getting your witchcraft onto that. I know I haven't said a lot. Well, I've spoken a lot and not said a lot. And I have to try and work my witchcraft around. It's trying to work out in my head as I'm speaking. I know I have to work my witchcraft around my life so that it becomes, once again, part of my life. And as that becomes more natural, hopefully, I'll have the life that I'd really love. But I am more content now because I am home. And that is step one. My foot is healed. Mentally and emotionally, I'm doing much better. It's taken a long time to recover from having the breakdown. But I'm getting there. I'm not saying that I'm better, but I'm getting better. And I may never be fully mentally or emotionally healthy again. But if this is as good as it gets, that's okay. I accept it. And I will work with what I have and who I am. So there you go. That's my ramblings for now. I would love to know. So pop it in the comments. Send me an email. It's Witch of Solstice. Witch of Solstice. All one word. No capitals. @gmail.com. Pop me an email. Let me know. How you reconnect and build your practice, and how you feel connected and remain connected to your witchcraft practice. That would really, I think, help me. Any ideas, I think, and any sort of insight into how other people deal with things is going to be only beneficial to me. And we all need to share. So comments would be great, because we need to share. And if we can say to each other, things aren't perfect, but this is how I cope, or this is how I base, this is how I get back in rhythm. I'm out of rhythm. There's no rhythm. I Esbats and Sabbats and moons are just, I used to be so in tune, and I am out of tune with it all. So, and I know a lot of that is going to be sit down, and if it could all come naturally, it would be so wonderful. But it doesn't. It does after a while. It comes naturally with practice, but you have to put in the effort first for the practice. I know this. So any tips, tricks, words of encouragement, anything would be wonderful. Not just for me, but for each other. So thank you very much for listening. And I'm hoping when I say this time, it's really going to be true. I will be back making videos very soon. We shall see. Oh, well, in better news, my daughter's getting married. Did I forget to mention that? I might have mentioned it before. I don't know, in another video. My daughter is getting married. Congratulations to my Bet and her Matt. So it's Beth and Matt, and I keep on calling them Bat and Meth. Or, you know, yeah, anyway. Congratulations to them. It's been a while. We're going wedding dress shopping again tomorrow. So anyway, good news has been happening. It's not all been bad news. But, yeah. I'll drop that in occasionally. As I am doing my crafting, my witch crafting and my crafting, you will notice, I know I said goodbye, but I'm going to carry on now. I put up a crafting video because I think that's what I've been missing over the past few years. I haven't done paper crafting. I figured it out. I thought it was 3 years. It's been 5 years since I've done proper paper crafting, and I started again, and I'm happy. And I am working my witchcraft into my paper crafting. So we'll see how that goes. It's brilliant. Have a look at what I made. It's a long waffling video, a bit like this one, but that's okay. So I'm going now. Thank you very much for listening. If you did, you probably all turned off by now and thought, oh, for goodness sakes, here she goes again. So but I am back. Hopefully I'm going to be back, not too regularly right now, but occasionally, building up to coming back and being me again, the me that I am in my soul and in my heart. There you go. Thank you very much. Bye for now, witchy people.